Welcome back to the official Sigma Male channel. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most powerful aspects of the Sigma Male archetype, the ability to maintain a strategic double life. This isn't about deception, it's about intelligent compartmentalization of your energy, resources, and true self. In a world designed for alphas and betas, the Sigma exists in a unique position. Unlike those who fight for hierarchical dominance or those who accept subordinate roles, the Sigma man crafts his own reality, one that often requires different faces for different scenarios. This duality isn't a sign of weakness, but rather a sophisticated adaptation that preserves your core essence while navigating a society that doesn't understand your nature. By the end of this video, you'll understand how to maintain your authentic self in private while strategically presenting a calculated persona in public. This balance is the hallmark of true Sigma success. If you find yourself constantly exhausted from social interactions or feeling like nobody knows the real you, this guide will transform your approach to life's dual nature. Before we begin this journey, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Why? Because while other channels offer surface-level tactics, we provide the deep strategic thinking that actually transforms your life from the inside out. The content we're sharing today has helped thousands of men reclaim their autonomy in a world designed to strip it away. Hit subscribe now to join a community of men who think differently, men who understand that true power lies not in dominating others, but in mastering yourself. Now, let's explore the fascinating double life of the Sigma male. The strategic. Solitude. The foundation of the Sigma male's double life begins with strategic solitude. Unlike the misconception that Sigma men are simply antisocial, true Sigmas understand that solitude is a powerful resource to be protected and cultivated with intention. In private, this solitude becomes your laboratory, a sacred space where you process information, recharge your mental batteries, and develop insights without external interference. It's here, away from the noise of society, that your authentic self flourishes and your most valuable ideas emerge. The average man fears being alone. The alpha fills his calendar with social dominance displays. The beta seeks constant validation from group inclusion. But the Sigma recognizes solitude as the foundation of personal power. Consider the historical example of Nikola Tesla, who spent countless hours in isolation developing revolutionary ideas, yet could navigate social situations when necessary for his goals. Or the modern-day entrepreneurs who disconnect completely from social media and external input during their creative phases, only to re-emerge with breakthrough innovations. Your strategic practice begins here. Schedule uncompromising solitude. Blocks in your calendar and defend them as you would your most important business meetings. During these periods, disconnect completely. No phone, no internet, no distractions. Start with 30 minutes daily and gradually expand. This isn't meditation, though that has its place. This is active solitude where you think, plan, and reconnect with your core self. In public, you'll engage when necessary, but these private solitude blocks are non-negotiable. They are the wellspring from which your public persona draws its strength and authenticity. Public performance versus private reality. The essence of the Sigma double life lies in understanding that your public persona is a performance, while your private reality remains your sovereign territory. This isn't about being fake, it's about strategic presentation of self. In private, you can drop the constant calculation required for social navigation. You can pursue interests that might seem contradictory to your public image. Explore thoughts without judgment, and let your guard down in ways that would be strategically unwise in public settings. Public performance requires energy that must be allocated wisely. Every Sigma man knows that social interaction is a transaction. You're exchanging your presence, attention, and energy for specific outcomes. Like any transaction, you must ensure you're receiving equal or greater value in return. Consider how the most successful Sigma men in business maintain carefully crafted public personas that reveal only what serves their objectives. In private, these same men often have unexpected interests, philosophies, and lifestyles that would surprise those who know only their public face. Practical implementation begins with conscious compartmentalization. Create clear boundaries between public and private spaces in your life. Your home should be a sanctuary free from the performance demands of public life. Develop rituals that help you transition between these two modes. Perhaps a specific route home that gives you time to decompress, or a change of clothes that symbolizes the shift from public to private self. Remember, your public performance should be authentic enough to maintain integrity, but calculated enough to protect your true self from those who haven't earned access to it. True emotional mastery in two worlds. The hallmark of the Sigma male is not the absence of emotion, but rather the strategic management of emotional expression across different contexts. This dual approach to emotional mastery gives you a significant advantage in both private and public domains. In private, you must develop complete emotional literacy, the ability to recognize, name, and process the full spectrum of your feelings, without judgment. This internal work happens behind closed doors, where you can safely experience everything from rage to grief to exhilaration, without the constraints of social expectations. Many powerful men maintain private physical practices, heavy bag work, intense physical training, or even art forms that allow for emotional processing that would be inappropriate in public settings. Consider how Marcus Aurelius wrote his meditations as a private emotional processing tool, never intending them for public consumption, or how modern business leaders often have confidential journals or trusted advisors with whom they can express doubts and fears that would undermine their public authority if widely known. In public, emotional mastery takes a different form: strategic expression. You deliberately choose which emotions to display, when to display them, and to what degree, based on your objectives, not on impulsive reactions. This isn't about being emotionless, but about being emotionally intentional. A calculated display of controlled anger can establish boundaries. A measured show of enthusiasm can motivate a team. Selective vulnerability can build trust when appropriate. Your implementation strategy: create a private emotional inventory system. Weekly, document emotional patterns you've experienced, triggers you've identified, and how effectively you managed. Public-private emotional boundaries. This data becomes invaluable for developing your emotional intelligence over time. The art of selective vulnerability. Vulnerability, properly understood, is not weakness, but a strategic resource. The Sigma male deploys with extreme precision. The key is selectivity, knowing when, where, and with whom to reveal different layers of yourself. In private, you must develop radical honesty with yourself about your limitations, fears, and areas for growth. This internal vulnerability creates the foundation for genuine strength and prevents the development of blind spots that eventually lead to downfall. Many successful men maintain private mentorship relationships where they can expose uncertainties and receive honest feedback without public scrutiny. The Sigma approach to vulnerability differs significantly from both alpha and beta patterns. The alpha typically avoids vulnerability entirely, creating brittle success. The beta often displays inappropriate vulnerability in hopes of gaining sympathy or connection, undermining his position. The Sigma, however, strategically reveals specific aspects of himself to specific people for specific purposes. Consider how certain business leaders might share calculated struggles with their journey when giving inspirational talks, revealing enough to be relatable, but never enough to compromise their position. Or how the most respected men often acknowledge specific weaknesses openly, while demonstrating they've built systems to compensate for these limitations. Your practical approach: create a vulnerability matrix. Identify the various aspects of yourself, ambitions, doubts, personal history, etc., and consciously decide which elements can be shared in which contexts: close relationships, professional settings, public platforms. This isn't manipulation. It's boundary setting that protects your core self while allowing authentic connection where appropriate. Social hierarchies: navigation without submission. The defining characteristic of the Sigma male is his ability to engage with social hierarchies without being defined by them. This requires a sophisticated understanding of social structures combined with the inner freedom to operate independently of them. In private, you must develop a deep understanding of your own value system, what you truly believe is important, separate from social conditioning. This internal hierarchy of values becomes your true north, allowing you to evaluate social situations based on your own criteria rather than external validation. Many successful Sigma men maintain private tracking systems for their personal objectives that have nothing to do with conventional status markers. Publicly, the Sigma demonstrates the rare ability to navigate hierarchical environments without triggering either dominance competitions, alpha response, or submission signals, beta response. This requires mastering the art of respectful engagement without deference, acknowledging existing power structures while maintaining your independent position within them. Consider how certain advisors can influence presidents and CEOs without requiring formal authority, or how specialized experts can command respect in organizations while operating outside the normal chain of command. Their value is intrinsic to their knowledge and approach, not their position in the hierarchy. Your implementation begins with hierarchy mapping. For each social or professional context in your life, consciously identify the formal and informal power structures at play. Then determine your optimal position, not based on where you can dominate, but where you can operate with maximum autonomy while still accessing the resources you need. Sometimes this means being visible, other times invisible, but always by your choice, not by default. Digital presence versus true identity. In today's hyper-connected world, the Sigma male understands that digital presence requires the most strategic approach to the public-private division. Your online footprint creates a permanent, searchable record that demands careful curation. In private, you must establish clear digital boundaries, sacred spaces and times where you disconnect completely, allowing your mind to operate free from the constant dopamine loops and social comparison traps of digital platforms. The most successful men often have significant periods of digital absence, where they process information and make decisions without the noise of public opinion. Your public digital presence should be approached as a deliberate portfolio, each platform serving specific strategic purposes rather than mindless self-disclosure. Unlike the alpha, who seeks maximum visibility, or the beta, who seeks maximum validation, the Sigma maintains a calculated digital presence optimized for his specific objectives. Consider how certain influential figures maintain focused, value-delivering LinkedIn profiles for professional advancement while having no presence on more personal platforms, or how others might use Twitter for specific thought leadership but reveal nothing about their personal lives. The key is intentional platform selection and content strategy. Your practical framework begins with a digital audit. Document every platform where you currently exist, the specific value it provides to your objectives, and the potential risks it presents to your private world. Eliminate platforms that create risk without corresponding reward. For those you maintain, develop clear content boundaries, deciding in advance what aspects of yourself and your life will never appear in digital form, no matter how tempting the engagement might be. Wealth building, visible success versus hidden empire. The Sigma approach to financial success embodies the essence of the double life philosophy, balancing necessary public displays of competence with the private construction of a financial fortress unknown to most observers. In private, wealth building begins with financial self-education that goes far beyond conventional wisdom. While the masses focus on salary figures, the Sigma develops sophisticated understanding of assets, leverage, tax strategy, and wealth preservation systems. This private financial intelligence becomes the foundation of true financial independence, often implemented through structures and entities invisible to casual observation. The public dimension of Sigma wealth management involves strategic displays of appropriate success, demonstrating enough prosperity to command respect and open doors, while avoiding the conspicuous consumption that creates both envy and vulnerability. This calibrated approach to visible wealth serves specific purposes while protecting your true financial position. Consider how certain businessmen might drive a reasonably luxury vehicle to client meetings, demonstrating appropriate success, while privately owning significant real estate portfolios or investment holdings unknown to their professional circles, or how others might live in modest primary residences while maintaining private retreats where they truly express their lifestyle preferences. Your implementation strategy: create separate tracking systems for your public financial persona, career advancement, necessary status signals, and your private wealth construction, investments, passive income streams, asset protection. Make decisions about financial visibility based on strategic benefit, not ego gratification. Remember, true Sigmas understand that financial privacy is as valuable as financial growth. Relationships: the compartmentalization strategy. The Sigma male's approach to relationships reflects his broader life philosophy, strategic compartmentalization that protects his core while allowing authentic connection on his terms. In private, you must develop absolute clarity about your relationship needs and boundaries. This internal work includes honest assessment of your capacity for different relationship types, the specific value exchanges you seek, and the non-negotiable aspects of your life that remain sovereign regardless of relationship status. Many successful men maintain private relationship journals where they process patterns, challenges, and growth without external judgment. Your public relationship strategy involves conscious decisions about which connections exist, in which contexts, and what aspects of yourself are accessible in each relationship category. Unlike the alpha, who often views relationships as status displays, or the beta, who seeks relationships for validation, the Sigma creates relationship structures aligned with his authentic needs. Consider how certain high-performing individuals maintain completely separate social circles for different aspects of their lives. Professional colleagues who never interact with personal friends, creative collaborators who never meet family members, or intimate partners who are not introduced to wider social networks until specific criteria are met. Your practical framework begins with relationship mapping. Create a visual representation of your current connections, organized by category: professional, intellectual, recreational, intimate, etc. For each category, define the appropriate level of access to your time, energy, and private self. This isn't about ranking people's value, but about creating sustainable boundaries that serve both your needs and the relationship's purpose. Communication tactics for different audiences. The Sigma male's communication approach embodies his dual life strategy, employing different communication styles for different contexts while maintaining internal congruence. In private, you must develop extraordinary self-awareness about your natural communication patterns, strengths and weaknesses. This involves rigorous, honest assessment of how you process information, express ideas, and respond to different communication situations. Many effective communicators maintain private practice regimens, recording themselves, studying transcripts of their speech, or working with communication coaches behind closed doors. Your public communication strategy involves consciously selecting the appropriate communication style for each specific audience and objective. Unlike the alpha, who often defaults to dominant communication, or the beta, who tends toward placating speech, the sigma adapts his approach based on strategic goals rather than habitual patterns. Consider how certain leaders might use direct, assertive communication when addressing their executive team, switch to inspirational storytelling when speaking to the broader organization, and employ careful diplomatic language when negotiating with external partners. The same person, different tactics, all aligned with specific outcomes. Your implementation begins with communication context mapping. For each important domain in your life, professional, social, intimate, identify the primary audiences and your strategic objectives with each. Then develop specific communication protocols for each context, including vocabulary choices, rhythm, emotional tone, and body language. Practice transitions between these different modes until they become natural extensions of your Sigma flexibility. 10. Time management between two lives. The foundation of successfully maintaining a Sigma double life lies in sophisticated time management, allocating your finite hours in alignment with your dual-world strategy. In private, you must develop systems for protecting and optimizing your most valuable resource, time. This involves creating uncompromising boundaries around certain time blocks while building flexibility into others. The most effective Sigma men often maintain private productivity tracking systems that would surprise those who know only their public schedule. Your public time management approach involves strategic visibility and calculated accessibility. Unlike the alpha, who often displays busy importance, or the beta, who tends toward excessive availability, the Sigma makes himself accessible or unavailable based on strategic choice rather than external expectations. Consider how certain high performers maintain dark periods of focused work unknown to their broader network while being surprisingly available during specific windows they've designated for external engagement, or how others might be completely unreachable during creative phases only to re-emerge when they've produced something of value. Your implementation framework begins with time auditing. Track every hour of your life for 2 weeks, categorizing each activity as either serving your private development or your public objectives. Identify and eliminate time allocations that serve neither. Then create a typical week template with non-negotiable blocks for your private world. Deep work, physical training, strategic solitude, and carefully selected windows for public engagement. Remember, the Sigma man's calendar reflects his priorities, not other people's emergencies. The mental fortress, protecting your inner world. The cornerstone of the Sigma double life is the construction and maintenance of an impenetrable mental fortress, the psychological infrastructure that protects your authentic self from external invasion. In private, this fortress building requires rigorous mental discipline and constant reinforcement. It involves developing personal philosophies resilient enough to withstand social pressure, curating information inputs that serve your objectives, and establishing thought patterns that preserve your sovereignty. Many powerful men maintain private intellectual practices, specialized reading protocols, thought experiments, or philosophical frameworks that would surprise those who know only their public personas. Your public approach to mental fortress maintenance involves selective permeability. choosing what external influences you allow to penetrate your thinking while redirecting or blocking those that threaten your mental sovereignty. Unlike the alpha, who often rejects all outside input, or the beta, who tends to absorb external opinions uncritically, the sigma evaluates information based on its merit rather than its source. Consider how certain thought leaders might engage with critics just enough to extract valuable feedback while never allowing criticism to derail their core mission. Or how others might appear to be listening to conventional wisdom while privately developing entirely different approaches based on their own analysis. Your implementation begins with boundary setting. Identify the primary threats to your mental sovereignty, whether social pressure, manipulation attempts, information overload, or specific toxic influences. Then develop explicit protocols for how you'll respond to each. This isn't paranoia, it's the recognition that your mind is the command center of your life, and protecting it is your highest responsibility. Integration, becoming the complete. Sigma, the ultimate mastery of the Sigma double life, isn't found in perfect separation between public and private worlds, but in the seamless integration of both into a coherent whole, what we might call the complete Sigma. In private, integration requires radical self-honesty about any contradictions or inconsistencies between your different selves. This internal alignment work involves regular assessment of whether your public actions truly serve your private values and whether your private development supports your public objectives. Many integrated Sigma men maintain private reflection practices specifically focused on identifying and resolving these potential disconnects. The public dimension of integration involves gradually allowing more authentic elements of your private self to emerge in strategic contexts, not as uncontrolled disclosure, but as calculated revelation of your true capabilities when the moment demands them. This creates the signature Sigma quality that others find both compelling and somewhat mysterious. Consider how certain leaders might maintain a consistent public persona for years, only to reveal unexpected depths in crisis moments, displaying philosophical wisdom, emotional intelligence, or strategic foresight that was always present but kept private until truly needed. Or how others might gradually allow trusted colleagues glimpses of their authentic process after they've proven themselves worthy of such access. Your implementation framework begins with congruence assessment. Regularly evaluate the alignment between your private values and your public actions, your stated principles and your actual decisions, your long-term vision and your daily habits. Where misalignments exist, determine whether to adjust your public expression, your private position, or both. The complete Sigma isn't defined by perfect consistency in all contexts, but by perfect integrity between his multiple expressions of self. The mastery of the Sigma double life, balancing your private authenticity with strategic public presentation, isn't achieved overnight. It's a lifelong practice that continues to evolve as you develop deeper self-knowledge and sharper social intelligence. The 12 principles we've explored today form a comprehensive framework for navigating a world that often misunderstands and underestimates the Sigma male. By implementing these strategies, you'll conserve your most valuable resource, your mental and emotional energy, while still achieving your objectives in the public realm. Remember that the goal isn't to create a false persona, but rather to protect your true self from unnecessary depletion. The Sigma male doesn't live a double life out of deception, but out of wisdom, understanding that not everyone deserves equal access to your authentic self. If this content resonated with you, do more than just subscribe. Implement these principles starting today. Begin with strategic solitude, then gradually incorporate the other elements we've discussed. The transformation won't happen immediately, But within months, you'll notice a profound shift in how you experience both your private and public worlds. Subscribe. Now, to continue this journey of Sigma development, unlike channels that recycle basic concepts, we're committed to providing advanced insights that actually transform your life from the inside out. Our next video will explore the crucial relationship between Sigma independence and strategic alliance building. Another apparent contradiction that, when mastered, becomes a powerful advantage. Until next time, protect your inner world, calculate your public moves, and remember that true power comes not from controlling others, but from mastering yourself.